As promised, here's the analysis of the second debate. If you haven't watched the analysis I made about the first one, I suggest you go watch it first and then come back. Or, if you don't want to relive the horror of that first debate, then stick around because this debate was much better than the first one. This was a good debate, and the clear winner came out of it, and I'm gonna tell you who that is and why later on in this video. Let's start by talking about Biden's strategy. Biden made sentimental arguments throughout the debate.
And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States. And look at the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family. And your family's hurting badly. If you're making if you're a middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning and saying, I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American president. I don't see red states and blue states. What I see is American, United States.
He focused more on sentimentality, moral narratives, and negative fear-mongering in his attempts to frame Trump as incompetent.
This by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter, and he has no clear plan and there's no prospect. Don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon. He says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. You know who I am. You know who he is. You know his character. You know my character. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. Global warming is an existential threat to humanity. We have a moral obligation to deal with it. And we're told by all the...
Biden struggled with his sentences.
There's a reason why he's bringing up all this malarkey. There's a reason for it. He doesn't want to talk about the substantive issues, the deal, because I made it clear and as a spokesperson of the administration when I went to China, deal with unexpected billing and have your put in by us to clean up the climate, to limit the limit of emissions will put us in a position.
And some of the things he said were questionable in terms of accuracy.
That's like saying we had a good relationship with Hitler before he, in fact, invaded Europe, the rest of Europe. Come on. The reason
Note that the relationship between the USA and Hitler's Germany before World War II was cold at best. Not a good relationship, as Biden stated. There's also this moment in the debate where Biden gave a really weak answer.
Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice President Biden, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
We had a Republican Congress. That's the answer.
Well,
Okay.
You got to talk them into it, Joe. Sometimes
All right.
You got to talk.
He didn't elaborate on it, and it came off as a weak excuse because of the awkward silence that surrounded it. As for Trump's strategy, he came in less hot, less obnoxious, more calm, and he let Biden talk. He was less aggressive and made arguments focused on enhancing his achievements and minimizing his failings. Trump tried to differentiate himself and counter Biden's sentimental statements by reaffirming that he's not a career politician.
Mr. President,
That's
10
a
seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing, and then he looks, the family, around the table, everything. Just a typical politician when I see that.
Let's talk about
I'm not
North
a typical
Korea now.
politician.
Okay,
That's why I got
President
elected.
Let's
Get off the subject of China. Let's talk sitting around the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do better.
We're going to talk.
But they were not in the crime bill.
But
Okay,
why
so-
didn't he get it done? See, it's all talk, no action with these politicians. Why didn't he get it done? That's what I'm going to do when I become president. You were vice.
Trump tried to frame Biden as corrupt and ineffective.
Number one. Number two, I don't make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from Russia. You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave you. They even have a statement that we have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think. I don't know. Maybe you're not, but you're the big man, I think. Your son said we have to give 10% to the big man. Joe, what's that all about? It's terrible. because
All
the
right.
kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken. I mean, your brother made money in Iraq, millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they say you get some of it, and you do.
Change the system, and that's what I'm going to do.
But why didn't he do it 4 years ago? Why didn't you do that 4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you do it? You were vice president because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President.
Country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up.
Excuse me.
Please respond, and then we're going to have follow-up
If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
All right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody's
Take a look
President
at the
Trump, I
laptop
want to
from
stay
hell.
on the issue, and then we're
I
going to
just
move
asked
on
one
to climate
question.
change.
Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time ago? Why didn't you do it? You just said, I'm going to do that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama. You know why, Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice.
Also, Trump managed to trap Biden on a couple of occasions by making him angry.
And what about fracking?
All right,
now,
let me
now we
let
have
me
to
have
ask
let
him
me
about
allow
fracking.
Vice President Biden to
I
respond.
never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I did. Show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it on.
Put it on the website. The fact of the matter is
Showed
he's
it last
flat lying.
Would you
Flat-
rule out banning fracking?
And afterwards, he tweeted the video. And here's another example.
That the pollutan's coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close
It
down
falls-
the oil industry?
It falls.
Would you close
it
down the
falls-
oil
By the way, I
industry?
would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I would
that's
transition.
a big statement.
It is a big statement.
That's a big
because
statement.
I would stop
Why would you do that?
because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
I see.
Here's the deal. But
That's
you
a
can't
big
do
statement.
that. Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time. And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. He won't give federal subsidies to the gas, excuse me, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do
All
give
right.
it to solar and wind.
We
and
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President Biden, let me give you 10 seconds to respond, and then I
Ohio.
have to get to the final question.
Biden did not have to answer to Trump's provocation, but he did, which was a poor decision that would end up hurting him with voters from states reliant on the oil industry. In psychology, there is a cognitive bias called the serial position effect. It is composed of two biases: the primacy effect and the recency effect. To explain these biases in simple terms, this is where people tend to remember best the first thing and the last thing that happened in a series of events. And in this last example, it did not play in Biden's favor because that mistake was at the very end of the debate, so people are more likely to remember it because of the recency effect that we just talked about. About the moderator, Kirsten Welker. She was, for the most part, fair towards both candidates. I think she did a good job moderating the debate and keeping it under control. And even Trump acknowledged her here.
And by the way, so far, I respect very much the way you're handling this, I have to say.
By the way-
But somebody should ask.
Which says a lot considering Trump's antagonistic relationship with the media. Overall, Biden did not give a clear image of what his policy is. His tone was not firm and reassuring, and I think the changes to the debate rules did not play in his favor. Trump, on the other hand, was clear and firm in his tone. He made better arguments and was more convincing. Part of that can be attributed to his experience as a businessman. But also, he was optimistic, in contrast to Biden, who focused more on the negatives. So, in closure, there is no doubt in my mind that Trump won this debate. What about you? Do you disagree? Tell me why, and let me know in the comments. And if you liked this video, subscribe for more content like this one. Thanks.
Come on. Come on.